All right, welcome. Today we're going over the Week 11 schedule of the 2022 NFL season. As you can see from last week's picks, went 7-7, worst week I've had in a while. So hopefully we can do better this week. And without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. So to kick off Week 11, I actually have a pretty decent matchup I'm looking forward to. We have the Tennessee Titans at the Green Bay Packers. So both teams coming off a win. Green Bay definitely coming off a a much needed win, beating the Cowboys. So, I've been telling the Packer fans in my life that I think that was a serious turning point for them. And I think this is going to be the beginning of the turning point for them. Now that they've gotten over that hump, they came back from that deficit against the Cowboys, shown the adversity. And I think it's going to show in this game. I think they're going to come out with the dub. Tennessee, very disciplined team. Vrabel's really got them in check, and Derrick Henry's going to have a great day, great night, I believe. But I just don't think they're going to be able to. This is Rodgers now, and he's starting to build that chemistry with the young receivers. I think this is really the turning point for the Packers to save their season. So, gonna in a close one, I'm going with the Packers. Next game we have the Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. So both these teams are frisky, you know, and man, I really just can't give Fields enough credit, and especially it being an inner division rival. As a Lions fan, that kind of pains me to say, but I got to give the credit where it's due. He is a monster, but Atlanta coming off you know coming off that bye week, so I think that it's gonna really come back, and I think it's gonna really help them. So I them also being at home, I think I'm going to go with Atlanta on this one, but I could definitely see Chicago pulling it out. So I'm going to go with the Falcons for this one. Next game, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to really dive into this one too much. I think Baltimore is just a better team, offensively, defensively, every aspect of the game. So they're going to be at home, just a better team, and Carolina is just kind of a dysfunctional team. I don't even know who they have starting. If Baker's coming back, but regardless, I'm still going to go with Baltimore for this one. Next game, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills. Apparently, this game's supposed to have like at least a good foot of snow from what I'm hearing, but we'll see. So this is going to be a good game, I think. I actually do think it's going to be a good game. I really think that Cleveland's front seven is really going to make it rough for Buffalo, and it's going to really make Josh Allen have to throw the ball a lot and quickly, for that matter. But I like Buffalo in this one. I think after what happened last week to them, I think they have a bad taste in their mouth, and they want to kind of come back to it. So I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills on this one. But I think Deshaun Watson is coming back. I don't think he's coming back for this game, but I think he's coming back for the next one. If not this one, the next one. So we're probably gonna. This is probably the last of Jacoby Brissett we're gonna see, and then until Deshaun Watson comes back. So man, what a matchup that would have been. But regardless, I'm gonna go with Buffalo for this one. Just think they're the better team. Next game we have Washington Commanders at the Houston Texans. Washington coming off that Monday night victory over the Eagles, giving them the first loss of the season. No more undefeated teams left. So I think they're going to be carrying that into this game, and as they should. They've really bounced back. Taylor Heineke for sure should remain the starting quarterback for this team. Just on the Houston side of it, I don't really need to dive into them too much. I mean, they should just really just tank the rest of the year. There's really no point. I mean, they're fighting in all these games, but there's just no good results for them. So I'm gonna go Washington, riding off that momentum from that win against Philly on Monday. So give me the Commanders for this one. Speaking of um, the team they just beat, the Philadelphia Eagles, um, they're coming off their first loss of the season, and they're going against the Indianapolis Colts, fresh, who they just got their first win with their new head coach. So I might get a lot of slack for this, but I think I'm gonna go with Indy on this one. I think Indy, that win is really gonna be big for them, and I think that maybe that mental block for them is gonna be gone. And Jeff Saturday's got them hyped up right now. And Philly just, the formula's there. Washington exposed the formula to how to beat this team. And in a week, I could definitely see me coming out with an egg on my face over this pick. But I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. I just think that this might be a stretch for Philly where now that they've finally lost and the crack is in the armor, that this might start to be a little bit of, the showing. But I'm going to go with Indy on this one. Especially considering the injuries Philly's got, I'm going to go with the Colts to take this game. But could so see it going either way. Next game we have AFC East matchup between New York Jets at the Patriots. So these two teams played, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. New England came out on top. But since then, the Jets have beaten the Bills. And I kind of am leaning towards Jets on this one. But maybe it's my Patriots bias in me. But just hard to beat this Patriots team at home. And Bill Belichick just owns young quarterbacks, and he owns the Jets. I gotta see it before I believe it. So, looking at it, both these teams are hot, and they're in the the steady race to, they're competing in this really hefty division. But New England coming off that bye, Jets coming off that bye, but I think it's going to be beneficial to New England a little bit more, and I'm going to roll with them to pick this to win this game. I just think that they have such a strong defense that's going to give Zach Wilson trouble. Whether or not they'll be able to put the points up, that's one thing, but their defense for sure, we know every week is going to show up, so give me New England for this one. Next game, we have the Rams at the Saints. Man, just what a tough season for the Rams, coming off that Super Bowl win, and definitely got the epitome of a Super Bowl hangover. So, I had a little trouble picking this one, but just looking at it like this, I think the Rams really got to have that urgency, and I think they're going to have the urgency to finally get a win. I think they're going to figure something out to win this game. The Saints defense might make it a little hard for them, but I really could see this one going either way too, but I'm going to go with the Rams. Just think their defense is still going to give Andy Dalton some trouble on the Saints side of the ball. So, like I said, could see it going either way, but I'm going to go with the Rams for this one. Next one, we have the Lions at the Giants. Lions 2 wins in a row. Write it down. And Giants looking pretty good this season. I'll admit it. But I think this is going to be a real test for the Lions, and I think it'll be a good test for... No, I'm not going to say it's a good test for the Giants, but I think on paper, New York has the better roster, but I'm going to actually go with the Lions on this one. And again, this might just be my Lions bias, kicking in a little bit, but I think we've got the offense to really put up points against this team. I really do. And I think we're going to be able to put up points. The Giants side of the ball, though, I know Detroit has such a terrible defense, but will they be able to match it? I don't know. But Detroit, the adversity they showed last week against Chicago, I mean, that was big. That game was dead in the water, and they came back and stole that game ripped victory out of the jaws of defeat from the Chicago Bears. So, great win for them last week. I think they're going to really be carrying that into this week. And this might be the shocker pick of the week, but I'm going with the Lions to win this over the Giants. Next game, we have another division rival going at it. We have the Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. Man, talk about disappointing teams, man. Both of these two teams, you could have made a case for them at the beginning of the year, and I'm sure many have, for each of these two teams winning their respective division. But, man, just Vegas, man. Talk about disappointing. Definitely the most disappointing team this year. Easy, hands down. But this one, man, I'm going with the Broncos. The Raiders have screwed me over so many times this season, and I said 2 weeks ago I wasn't going to pick them. Ended up picking them last week, and Raiders lost again. So I'm done with the Raiders. just really disappointing to see how the season's turning out for them. But the Broncos, same thing. Just because the Raiders are having such a bad season, we're not forgetting about how bad Russ is cooking right now over in Denver. So, but if I got to really pick one, I'm going to go with Denver for this one. Just can't trust Vegas, man. This is going to be in Mile High, so I think Russ actually might be able to cook in this game. So give me the Broncos for this one. This one, I think this is game of the week. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings. So Minnesota, coming off that great win last week, game of the year against the Bills. Think they shut a lot of people up. I really do. I really think they shut a lot of people up. And this Vikings team is good. I'll admit it. I will admit it. But you already know what I'm going to say. The one thing holding this team back, I really think it's going to be Kirk Cousins. And it might not be showing now, but I think it will eventually. That clock will run out, and it's going to happen. But for right now, Minnesota's looking amazing, and I just got to give them their credit, as much as it pains me to say. But I do think that Kirk Cousins is going to blow it for them. I mean, even last week, throwing 2 picks, game was just dead in the water. Buffalo had one of the all-time chokes. So, anyway, on the Dallas side of it, they had an all-time choke as well. Had a 14-point lead going in the fourth quarter at Lambeau, and they managed to lose that game. And that was a big turning point for them. And I think this is going to be 2 in a row for Minnesota. Or, I'm sorry, 2 losses in a row for Dallas. And I think Minnesota's going to actually take this. I think that might be a mental block for Dallas, what happened last week. And Minnesota, man, they've got all the confidence in the world right now, and as they should. 8-1. In this really lackluster NFC, I still don't trust any one team in this conference. But after what happened last week, there's no reason why I shouldn't believe in this team. And I do believe in this team, but just the one thing that I think will hold them back is Kirk Cousins. But that's in the future. But for right now, for this game, I'm going to go with the Vikings. Next game, another division rivals going at it. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, don't think I'm going to really need to go into this one too much. Bengals coming off that bye. Think they're going to be fresh. They're going to be relaxed. Going to be ready. Going to go with the Bengals on this one. Just think they're the better team. Pittsburgh, although they did get that win last week, I just don't really see what they're going to be able to do against, especially if they're able to run the ball. Cincinnati, if they're able to run the ball, I don't know what Pittsburgh's going to be able to do. So, give me Cincinnati for this one. Late game, Sunday Night Football. We have division rivals going at it again. We have the Chiefs at the Chargers. So, got this in week 2, and now we're getting it in week 11. So, Chargers have been a little subpar, disappointing in that division too. But the consistency in that division is the Chiefs still being on top. I would say they're the best team in football right now. And they have the MVP right now in Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's going to be carrying into this one. This is going to be a statement win for them. I am going with the Chiefs for this one. I just think that it's really just not only just in terms of their division, they're miles ahead of everybody. It looks like they're a step ahead of everybody else in the league too. And I know, now that Philly just got exposed and they took their loss, Buffalo's been on just this kind of downhill slide, I guess if you want to call it, these past few weeks. So I don't see why you don't have Kansas City at number 1 right now. But this is the best team in the league right now, in my opinion. And they have the MVP, and I think they're going to win handedly against the Chargers. So give me the Chiefs for this one. And to end the week, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals, another division rival going at it. So, Arizona and San Francisco both coming off wins last week. I just think that, to cut it short a little bit, I think San Francisco is just a better team here. Their defense is just suffocating. I think they're gonna make it really hard for the Cardinals. And if Jimmy G is able to do his thing, and Christian McCaffrey's able to have a good game and we get a little bit of Debo, like, I don't see why the 49ers don't win this game pretty easily. So, give me the 49ers for this one. All right, so those are my picks for the Week 11 schedule. Let me know in the comments who you have for each of the games. I want to thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you haven't already done that. And as always, we will see you next week.